Welcome to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Every week, you can have the conversations you've always wanted to have about the films you love.
Shut up!
We're gonna get you. Not another peep. Kinda
Get rid of your distractions and prepare yourself.
Won't and lock your door. 5, 6, gonna crucifix.
You got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
All right, welcome everybody to the Cult Classic Horror Show. I'm Danny Bonin.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. Scotty Bonin here.
And we're here on episode 14.
Wow.
Yeah, as we continue our journey through A Nightmare on Elm Street.
The Nightmare series.
So yeah, we just got done. Geez, yesterday it felt like we did a marathon
Goodness.
of Nightmare on
movies.
Elm Street. It was insane. 2 movies plus some documentary stuff and research, and wow, my mind's exploding with Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, we were gonna do the podcast last night, but we were just our minds were just too crammed with stuff. So we're like, let's just wait a day so we can let it sink in a little bit, which was good.
So if you guys are just joining us on this series, you can go back a couple episodes and catch it from the beginning, where we start with A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. And we've been working our way through, and now we're up to number 4 and 5.
Yes, we are. 4 and 5.
So the Dream Master and the Dream Child is what we're going to be talking about today. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5.
Yes, it's gonna be exciting, and it seems like they have a good one, then a bad one, then a good one, and then a bad one. No, just a good one, good one, then a bad one. I mean, it's kind of off and off, but it's...
I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't know. None of them really live up to the first one. The number 3 was pretty good, but I don't know.
I thought number 4 was good, too.
The first one's such a classic that, I don't know. It's my favorite so far.
Seems like with any movie series, it is hard to beat the first one all the time. And we're kind of learning that through these Nightmare series. But these movies, of course, they have the cheesiness, they have the cheesy gore, and the Freddy character is an iconic, horror monster character. So it makes up for it, and you just gotta, take it in and know that cheesiness is coming, and you just gotta love it, So that's what that's what I kind of accept it. Yeah,
the cheesiness.
It is the reason that we love it.
They even say how it's sort of a horror comedy. Mm-hmm. The reviews for, I think it was number 4, could have been 5, were saying, it's, I think it was 4 actually, reviews for 4, Dream Master, was that it was the perfect amount of wit, comedy, and gore, and horror, and so I wasn't even aware. I guess they have been trying to slip in some humor in those one-liners that Freddy has and everything else inside of this.
Yeah.
So
and they also pointed out to where the number 4 was kind of the MTV, more like Tom Cruise and like the fad, whereas 5 they were trying to get more of the scary Freddy coming out again, and stuff too. So they do. Each film does have a different director, so they do different takes on it, and obviously the different directors tell them to do different things, and they bring out some new stuff that Freddy hasn't done before, or maybe that he has done. So
yeah, and
so
some of the directors have fucked it up, like in the second one.
Oh yeah.
And everyone they know that. So
yeah, going across the West Craven boundaries of the first Nightmare. So
well, let's get into it here. I'm gonna go through the behind the scenes kind of stuff, and then some comments we had going through watching the movies. So yeah, we'll jump in. These movies were distributed and created by New Line Cinema, or funded by New Line Cinema. We already talked about in the first episode how they basically went put everything on the line just to make that first movie. You know, mortgage their house, everything like that. Bob Shea, Robert Shea, who is the exec at New Line, working closely with Wes Craven for the first one. Both of them were pretty much broke as they were doing that. So after the fourth movie is when New Line really blew up. They sort of they were a big company by then, and were getting sought after, and it was good to work for them. And finally, they had some cash flow coming in, and so Freddy put New Line on the map. And even and Robert Englund was saying how, you know, even at that point they still didn't pay real top dollar compared to some of the other bigger studios. But they did. There was loyalty there. You knew that if you were in a New Line film, you're probably going to be in their next film. Yeah, you're going to be there for a long time. Yeah, you'd have some steady work coming in.
Which I think he was okay with, because in the industry, you know, I guess, you know, especially when you first start out, you don't know where your work's going to come from. But when you're locked in and you have something that's working and you're not getting paid a lot, you know, you can sacrifice the low payment and having a long contract, you know. So I think that's exactly, and of course we know that now because New Line Cinema went on to do 7 movies?
Well, yeah, in
7
the
Freddy
Freddy
movies.
Series,
or in more. Just the Freddy series, but
or
of
more,
course they're huge. Of course they're big. They're huge now, but it's just like, you know, back then it's really where they got their jump start. So,
but so the director for Nightmare 4 was
Dream Master.
Yeah, Dream Master was Rennie Harlin. He's a guy from Finland who. They talked about, the New Line execs talked about how they wanted to use new, fresh, up-and-coming directors for a lot of these movies. So that's where the movie before this, you know, even Wes Craven at the time was a new, up-and-coming director. And so they picked this, they saw this guy, and Robert Shea, the exec at New Line, didn't like him very much. But the guy was persistent. Rennie Harlin was broke.
And he was like living in like a hotel room.
Yeah, living in a hotel room.
In like Hollywood for dirt cheap.
And with a roommate, and was broke, just moved there. And they saw him, and the rest of everyone else liked him, but Robert Shea didn't like him. And so
he was saying that he couldn't understand him. He's like,
this guy doesn't speak English.
He doesn't speak English, goddammit.
So Rennie just kept going day after day, showing up unannounced, just, you know, I can do it, I can still do it, you need me, and all this.
He was this big, tall, bearded guy, and Robert Englund's like, he was like a Viking. He was like towered over me. Huge.
Yeah. And so finally they gave him the job. You know, Robert Shea said, he's a big guy, he probably has a lot of energy. This is a really short shooting schedule. And so we need someone who can put in 12-hour days or more. And so they went with him.
Yeah.
And gave him at the time, the biggest budget movie that Rennie had worked with was about $1 million. And they gave him a $5 million budget for Freddy 4, Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Which you could see, because it seemed like there was a lot more like special effects and, you know, just a lot more gore per se and stuff like that. Like, you know, the motorcycle and then the whole bug squishing thing and all that. Yeah. I think that budget, you could see more than the other Freddys, you know, which I thought. Not to say they all looked the best, and were done
actually,
right.
the one you're talking, I think the motorcycle one was
with his hands turning.
Was that not the fifth one?
Oh, was that the fifth one?
Or was it the fourth?
Nah, you know what? That might have been the fifth one.
Yeah.
I'm getting him mixed up.
Yeah.
No, or was it the fourth one?
No, it was the fifth one because he dies, obviously.
Oh, yes, it was the fifth one. So, yeah. Well, the bug one was in it when she gets crushed and then her arms pull off when Freddy pushes down the bench press and stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, stuff like that seemed like there's more.
$5 million is a tiny budget nowadays, and even I don't even think it was a real huge budget back then.
Yeah,
but
88.
Yeah,
this was 88. That's right. So these Nightmare films, they do them like year after another year. Like 3 was 87, and 2 was 86, and now this 4 is 88, and then 5 is 89. So they do them. There was no like downtime.
And in between. They didn't take enough time in between 4 and 5, and we'll get into that when we get to number 5 here. But yeah, then around this time when they were putting together Nightmare 4, was when the writers' strikes in Hollywood happened. So they had all these writers on strike, and no one to write for the script. You know, they had this version of the script that was sort of unfinished. It wasn't a final copy. And so the director Rennie found himself writing a lot of these nightmares and coming up with these nightmares, and actually wrote a lot of the movie himself. So
just like within those days, within days and weeks period.
Yeah, this movie was so. Both these movies were so fast that they were oftentimes writing things as they went.
Script changes would happen every day. They wouldn't, characters would memorize lines, and they wouldn't have those lines because they cut that and put some other line in. So it's crazy how the characters went through a lot and trials and stuff in here. But obviously the movies turned out and they were great. So
yeah. So obviously you guys notice in Nightmare 4 that Patricia Arquette did not return.
Yes.
And there was some
controversy there, kind of.
Yeah, a lot of people claim they don't know why she didn't return. A lot of the other actors and everybody, but a couple of them came out and said it's because they didn't pay her enough.
Yeah, and enough meaning the guy playing Joey, he was on, and they said that they could have paid her, but they thought what she asked for wasn't that much, so they thought maybe there was a little feud between her and Robert Shea, and she's like, "Screw you, bitch."
Yeah, well,
you pissed me off.
I don't know if I got that. I thought he was saying that they didn't want to pay her that much, even though she deserved it. And it wasn't that much. But I don't know.
It kind of when I saw the other girl, I'm like, wait, what the hell is Patricia Arquette? Because it was hard to fill her shoes, and I think if she wasn't in the movie, it probably would have been a little bit better. Yeah,
well, the characters said that too. They said. We just didn't have the chemistry we did in Nightmare 3 with Patricia Arquette. Had she been in Nightmare 4, I think that the acting would have been a lot better. They would have felt like more of a group because they had formed those bonds in the previous one. So they did mention that she just went and fucked it all up.
And then the girl that filled in for her, oddly enough, her weird name was Tuesday Night.
Yeah,
she played Kristen, which is. Patricia's,
I don't know who the fuck names their kid Tuesday Night. Yeah.
Tuesday and Night is Knight.
It's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard.
So
literally,
it is. When I saw it in like the credits, I'm like, oh, that's just a joke name.
Yeah,
that can't be real. But I guess it was.
It was ridiculous.
So she played Kristen. Obviously, this is which was Arquette's part.
Yeah.
And then the other two guys were back though. The guy that played the black guy that played Kincaid.
Yeah, and Joey. So those two are back. Yep. But, so we were talking about the budget a little bit, and I don't know. Sort of what struck me about this movie is the effects weren't as... I didn't think they were as ambitious as number 3. Number 3 had some more stuff going on. Obviously, they had the big snake. They had a lot of things going on, whereas, they talked about in Nightmare 4, and this one, one of the biggest... the longest and biggest scenes they had was with the waterbed death, where Joey dies, and then he sees Freddy under the waterbed, and he ends up being sucked under the waterbed and dies. And they talked about how long that took, and it's this bed. They said it was a bed built up. The whole set or scene was built on top of a large tank.
Yeah,
and obviously the waterbed just went into the tank, and they even showed that clip of stunt double Freddy.
They did show it.
Stunt double Freddy just pissed as fuck.
He's like, this is 20 fucking takes already. Are we going to keep doing this?
Yeah, he's like, if you can't fucking get it right in 20 takes, we're not going to fucking get it at all.
I guess it was the most complicated scene they shot.
It was an outtake of Freddy's of Robert Englund's stunt double in Freddy makeup, just yelling at everybody. It was pretty cool.
Because you have to be under the water and stuff, and I bet you it was a pain in the ass.
So I mean, they talked about that being a big and pain in the ass scene and the money, but it didn't have the effect I thought as much as even in the first Freddy when the room is turning. Yeah,
and then the blood splurts out and stuff.
Whatever. It was a cool death.
It was more. These were more like comedic deaths than. I almost compare it to Evil Dead 2. There's funniness in it, and of course Evil Dead 2 stands by itself. But there was just like the first one was more like the scary, gruesome, like her crawling on the wall and stuff, and this was more of a just more of a campy death.
Well, yeah. Well, and speaking of death, I think the next one is, or I don't know if it was exactly the next one, but that was when Tuesday Night died. Kristen.
Oh yeah, on the beach.
Yeah, and I guess, she has her little bra and skirt on, and they originally had her no skirt with just the bottoms. And I guess she was making a huge deal about wearing the swimsuit.
Yeah, and Rennie, the director, was like, "Come on out, come on! I can't come out. It's like you're just in a bathing suit. What the hell?"
And it was a tiny one, he did admit.
Yeah,
but he also talked about how he wanted this. He was appealing to teenage boys a lot in this movie. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have the naked girl under the waterbed. He wanted Tuesday night in a tiny ass bathing suit.
Yeah,
and then towards the end, they were talking about the naked people inside of Freddy, pushing their breasts up against them, and so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. That was the end of this one, right? Yeah, that's right.
I believe so.
Because when he shows the mirror.
Yes.
And stuff,
Yep. It is. So God, when you watch them right in a row, and then you watch a documentary, they sort of mesh together in your mind.
Yeah, and speaking of that's at the very end. And I know we're kind of jumping to there, but they made like a huge giant Freddy for that scene, and it was like, it was like huge, like 4 times as big as Robert Englund is, and they actually had naked people like pushing through the skin and stuff, and obviously on camera it looks like it's just Robert Englund, but in actuality it's this huge oversized giant Freddy doll or whatever machine whatever you want to call it. And there was like a girl on the top that held it up while the people were trying to push through it. And so that was pretty crazy looking too. Pushing through this flesh and the skin and arms coming out and of his head and his mouth and his ears and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, let's jump back over to where we were. So yeah, we talked about how she didn't want to wear the suit. And another cool little thing that I realized is that I guess Robert Englund just talks nonstop. So all these different makeup artists that they've worked with over the years all share that in common, that they're like, fucking guy won't shut up when you're the makeup artist for this movie. Is this where they brought back the original Miller? I think they did for Nightmare 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was working with a new makeup artist, and they were saying, he said, you just got to go in there and you just have to grab his head and start doing makeup because he won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's going to be talking the whole time.
So the new guy, when he went in there without any advice, he said, I was just sort of waiting for Robert to stop talking before we did the makeup, and it just never happened. So eventually I just slowly started doing the makeup while he's talking. And so, yeah, they say how he'll tell the same stories
storyteller.
over and over and over. And by the time,
his life story.
By now, most of the artists can just finish all his stories for him. And it's just ridiculous. Even watching it on the documentary, it was crazy.
Well, he's one of those guys that just goes, I could totally picture it. He's just like a cocky Freddy guy that just, almost like a Jack Nicholson that will just talk about his life story and stuff. And that's what made him so good too. He was just out there.
So then another one of the deaths was the black girl in school where she gets sucked dry.
Oh yeah.
He says, you want to suck face, and that whole sequence.
Oh yeah, she looked like a plastic rubber body that was hanging there after she got the life sucked out of her.
Yeah. And I guess when that was her first, the actress, that was her first Toy. I think Toy was her name or something. Mm-hmm. Weird name. Yeah, Toy.
Well, what's her name? Oh no, yeah.
Her name was Toy.
Yeah,
her real name is Toy. Mm-hmm. And I guess that was her first on-camera kiss, was with Freddy, and he was wearing those dentures, and she said they like fell into her mouth.
The dentures came out, and her name was Sheila in the actual in the actual movie.
Oh, in the movie, yeah.
In the movie, her name was Sheila.
I didn't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sheila.
So yeah. And then while we're talking about the deaths, the other death that was supposed to be different was Joey's, or not Joey, Rick's. Rick is the karate kid. Dude.
Oh yeah, yep.
And he ends up dying by getting beat up by a invisible Freddy. But he was supposed to, when he's in that death elevator going up and down, the floor was supposed to fall out, and he's supposed to fall through like endless space and die that way. But they actually ran out of money to do the rest of that scene, and so they just said, "What's the cheapest way he can die, and how can we do this?" And
then they're like, "Didn't he do martial arts? He did martial arts in like the second scene, so let's like sequence that like pertaining to how he knows martial arts. So they put this martial arts scene.
Yeah. And they said we didn't want to work on a set, so we just hung all these curtains up, made it look Japanese.
Sheets and curtains and wind blowing through them and stuff.
I guess when he was doing that scene, the actor, Rick, I don't know his real name, because I should have wrote that down. But Rick, he said he had just gotten surgery for appendicitis, and then while doing that, his scars tore open again, and he had to go to the hospital from the set.
Gosh, that's crazy.
So I guess he was trying too hard, punching the air. But anyways,
and then moving on. So that the scene where I guess the girl that plays Alice, which is Lisa Wilcox, they had her go through the screen, and then she's there, and you see her old looking face.
Yeah,
and then you see that there's the pizza that they bring out. They actually order that pizza from Domino's.
Yeah.
And they had for like 5 hours they had to like shape these little meatball faces sculpted into like little heads. Soul food is what they call them.
Yep.
So that was an actual pizza, and they shaped like meatballs and put like faces on them, which is funny as hell.
Yeah, well, then they used the actual actors' heads.
Yeah.
Enlarged pizza to do the close-ups. So that was cool.
That was really cool. I was really hungry when that came out. And it looked pretty good.
Yeah. Whoa!
What the hell's that sound?
What is that noise? That means it's time for the horror halftime.
Alrighty then.
So this week's horror halftime, we're gonna stick on the same theme until we get some interaction here on Instagram, because maybe you guys are all Facebook users, because we get a lot of interaction on Facebook from you guys. But let's try to bring it over to Instagram here. So.
Yes, please.
So I'm actually going to keep it real, like, sort of, we've already done this already. I'm going to keep it real simple because I just want to see someone do this on Instagram. So all I want you to do is take, it can be any picture, all right? We're going to make it the most simple as possible. It just has to have to do with Freddy Krueger. So here's what. I'll give you two options. You can either take a picture of yourself with some Freddy gear, whether it's the glove claw, a mask. You can hold your favorite movie up and take a picture with it. So you can either post that on Instagram and tag us at Cult Classic Horror, or you can create a Freddy Krueger meme. Any kind of meme has to do with Freddy Krueger. We prefer the meme because we like to look at funny memes. So just make sure it's good. And post that on Instagram and tag us at Cult Classic Horror. And the picture that we like the best, we'll send you some free stuff. So
yeah, get out there, guys, and do it.
It could be a hoodie, a T-shirt, comic books, whatever we got. Yeah. So we'll send it to you. We got a
cool Freddy shirt, even.
Yeah, we do have a cool Freddy shirt.
So it could be anything like that, guys.
So do it. All right, that concludes the horror halftime. We'll jump back in real quick. We're still talking about Nightmare 4 here. We'll be wrapping that up.
Dream Master.
So we just talked about the pizza. The other death scene too was the weightlifting death scene that we talked about, where her arms bust and everything, and then she ends up turning into the cockroach.
Like the cockroach, yeah. That was actually a pretty freaky scene.
Yeah, but I guess when her arms do break and everything, when they shot that scene, it's actually her head.
Oh yeah.
But then all the rest of it is a fake body and arms. So literally, she's in a box underneath all that with her head just sticking out. And I guess she was in that box for 5 hours straight.
God.
While they were filming that.
Couldn't eat or anything.
Yeah, and eventually just had to pee. And I guess what's funny is she had to pee, and they gave her. She's like, guys, I got to take a piss, and so they handed her a styrofoam cup. And she's like, no, I can't. I'm a girl. I can't piss in this cup.
Guys can do that, but I can't do that. Are you guys kidding me?
So yeah, it's just crazy how, a scene as short as that takes, she'll be in there for 5 hours.
Yeah, and it was like, obviously it wasn't her real body, so it was all that prosthetic stuff. I bet she was falling on her and stuff, and so she probably had to go through a lot.
Yeah,
which was nuts. And
another cool thing, I didn't even notice this till I heard it mentioned, was the restaurant's called the Crave Inn. Crave, I-N-N, Crave Inn, as a tribute to, Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Crave Inn, Craven, Wes Craven.
I didn't get that. I saw the name of the diner, but I didn't really put it together.
Crave Inn.
Genius.
And then we talked about before how Bob Shay he was in the second movie, or was it the first? He was the first movie. He's in the first movie as the bartender.
No, that was the second one. That was
it was the second one.
When he was at the
second
gay
one
bar.
as the bartender.
Yep.
And he wanted a bigger part, but they wouldn't give it to him. And so, in true fashion, he is the teacher in Nightmare 4. The teacher that's looks real disgruntled in his teaching. I don't even remember what subject, but
Yeah.
you can see him in there in one of the classroom scenes.
That's right.
So that was cool. So yeah, they wrapped it up, and they made more than any of the other movies on this movie. So it was a continual climb upwards.
It was the highest grossing Nightmare on Elm Street until that point.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also set a record for the highest grossing independent film at that point, because it was still considered an independent film. It grossed like $50 million in the box
Domestically.
office. Yeah, domestically. So yeah, although it was thrown together, some of the writing was done off the cuff. It grossed a lot, and a lot of people were saying it got rave reviews. They were saying it was the best
Yeah.
Freddy yet.
And one thing, like, Shay didn't think it was going to be good, and I guess him and the director Rennie didn't have that good of a relationship, and they didn't really talk a lot during the run or during the filming part. And I think, to Shay's surprise, it banked, did a ton of money.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh. And he called Rennie. He's like, "Oh, you did great!" And like all of a sudden, was this nice guy,
Yep. Rennie called his parents and over in Finland, who had no communication with him because the long distance calls were so expensive, and said he was pretty much successful now. So
Yeah.
and then he talked about how it opened that weekend, and Monday, Rennie got a call from Spielberg and furthered his career that way. Ended up directing films like Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
And a couple different ones. So it really, Rennie talks about how it made his career, really put him on the path to success.
It put him on the map.
Absolutely broke before it, and then so that was a pretty cool story.
Gross $50 million. And another thing is that opening weekend, Shay called him up, and him and Rennie went around to the movie theaters, the local movie theaters, to see the fans' faces and how they liked it, and so that's kind of cool. Like the director and producer behind scenes, when people don't see them on the big screen, but they're obviously the ones behind the movie.
Yeah.
So they could have been in the movie theater you guys watched it in '88.
Could have been. Well, and they after this movie was released, I mean, we already talked about how Freddy was sort of a household character name after Dream Warriors, but really after this one, they did a bunch of merchandising. There were Freddy toys. There were toys for kids, nonetheless. Freddy pajamas.
Freddy pajamas. You're wearing a child killer's pajamas.
Yeah, child molester.
Child molester. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just became common vernacular after that. They had a clip of the
Pinball
president.
machines.
Yeah, they had a clip of Reagan saying, making a reference to Nightmare on Elm Street. It was in different movies by then, and so just Freddy and A Nightmare on Elm Street was becoming known worldwide.
It blew up
everywhere.
worldwide. Yeah, so it was just like a cult classic right after that, and everyone loved it.
Well, so much so that they created the series.
That's right, the TV series.
Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah.
And it was very short-lived and not very good at all.
Like the first 4 or 5 or 6 were good, they said, but then after that it just went to shit, and they were just doing stuff just that didn't even mean anything.
Well, and they were getting away with putting this shit on public television that should never have aired. All this gore and brief nudity and language, and somehow they were getting it on television, and it was syndicated shows, so it was up to the stations when they wanted to play it, and it got a lot of flack because some stations started playing it at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And so there was outrage from parents about this is not appropriate.
Their kids coming home and seeing all this blood and sex and gore.
Yeah. So it wasn't good, but it did have some famous people. Brad Pitt was a part of one of them, and
that's right. And Robert Englund, of course, played
Freddy. The whole time. So, but so that's sort of, even though it didn't do real well, or it turned into the shitty series.
TV series.
It wasn't the height of Freddy's popularity, and it was a cash cow for them. It made them a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that loved it. That that it was mainly that's why they kept doing it, because it was the cash cow. They didn't really care what it was like. They just were doing jokes and gore and sex, and that's what people paid for, So
So then they move on to Nightmare 5, The Dream Child.
The Dream Child.
So this one, if I'm getting my timelines right, they started throwing it together like right away, and they literally had
within like 9 months after.
less than a year, and they only had I think 4 or 5 months to film it, and so I mean that's where we talk about how they were doing one right after another, one each year, but this one wasn't even a year apart. And was filmed so fast, and it came out right away. And we'll talk about how it wasn't as popular because of that. But for this one, they had Leslie Bohem, if that's how you say it, Bohem, Bohem, was a writer, and Stephen Hopkins as a director.
Yep.
Who once again was a sort of up and coming
young guy,
fresh director,
had different ideas and stuff.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that Leslie, the writer, he had submitted a script for Nightmare 3 when they did Dream Warriors, and in Nightmare 3, in his script, it had the idea of Freddy being a dad and there being a child Freddy in it, and they didn't like it at the time, New Line, and they just said, no, that's shitty, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, then they called him back for Nightmare 5 and said, you know what, bring back your script, we like your idea.
We like this baby, Freddy having a baby and going through the baby and stuff. And
so it was, so he finally got his chance, he came back and he got it. And then another, the kid, Jacob, I forgot his...
He looks like the Omen kid, kind of.
Yeah, he does. He does look like the Omen kid.
Of course, he's older now, but back then.
But he was talking about how his dad had died during the filming, and so it was easy for him to connect to his emotions or whatever the fuck you want to say, which was interesting, I thought. But he said it helped to be working and keeping his mind off it. But fuck, I don't know how old he was at the time, but to lose your dad at that age while you're filming
probably
a movie?
7 or 8.
God.
9 maybe.
Yeah.
So that was bad. Of course, and then of course they had Lisa Wilcox back as Alice, and she played Alice in Dream Master, which Part 4.
Yeah.
Which I think she's pretty hot.
Yeah, she did look good.
She kind of was like that nerdy girl in 4, and then kind of came out and in 5, a little more. Well,
she sneaks up on you. At first, you're like, whatever, and then like later on in the movie, you're like, damn, I'd bang her.
Oh yeah, for sure. God. And like you see the characters now, like the girl that played Kristen, and it's like she's like blew up.
That Tuesday night girl is just she's fugly now.
Oh man, she's big. Yeah,
it was bad. But
Lisa Wilcox kept her looks. She's looking good.
Yeah, she was.
At age, whatever she is now, 40 something. I'm guessing.
So this was the movie you're talking about with the motorcycle scene, and where Dan dies that way, and his real name was Dan too.
The Dream Child.
But they filmed this one super fast. 4 or 5 months they had to film it, and they had a bigger budget for things like that, the special effects, and so the motorcycle scene though was a good example. They put a lot of money into it, but they ended up having to cut like over half the sequence. And same with Robert Englund was talking about how basically take every death scene and add like, a couple more minutes onto it. And that's the actual was supposed to be the length of it. But they had to cut so much out of it just because of the ratings to get the rating back down.
Which kind of sucks. I mean, obviously the theatrical version doesn't show as much, but when you watch the uncut one, you will see everything. But the guys were pissed about that. They put so much work and money into it, and you only see half the stuff they actually did, which is kind of a bummer, of course.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of good stuff in this one too. It wasn't as good as the fourth one, I don't think, for my perspective. But
and from everyone's perspective, it wasn't as good.
Yeah, you're right.
But so some of the effects, like it was cool how they did, for instance. I've written down the death with Toy Sheila or whatever, because she was the same. Oh no, she was. New black girl.
Yvonne.
Yvonne is the new black girl.
Is the new one that was
who looks sort of like Halle Berry.
She does kind of look like Halle Berry.
It's not. I forgot her real name, but. When she dies up on the diving board and the diving board splits into these fingers,
Of course, she doesn't actually die at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But she does.
In her nightmare, when the diving board, the fingers curl up, it was cool how they did that. They were talking about that they had these foam big fingers, or not. I don't even think they were that big. They had these foam fingers on the diving board, and then they projected her onto the wall behind that. So actually, her in that scene is just a projection on the wall. So I didn't even notice when we were watching it, and then when we saw that, it was sort of became more obvious. So next time you're watching the movie, look at that scene, and you'll notice that she's just like a projection on the brick wall behind there.
Yeah, that's crazy how they filmed that, because I didn't notice it until they said something about it too.
Yeah.
And then that beginning scene where all those like maniacs are in that asylum, or in the mental house. All of them, they obviously weren't film actors. A lot of them weren't. So a lot of them went all out and crazy and like over the top. You're saying you're supposed to be a crazy person, but like sometimes Robert Englund was saying that it was kind of crazy in there because he had all these like non-actors that were just going all out crazy, and obviously he's not Freddy at that point yet. He's in the crazy
he's
house
technically Freddy's dad is what they're trying to get across there. This unmakeup Robert Englund is Freddy's sort of dad because he looks like him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then the latex prosthetic Freddy alien that comes out of Amanda Kruger's vagina that shoots out. He looked like an alien almost. Remember? The baby that comes out of him?
Yeah. The little Freddy.
Little Freddy.
Yeah. Yeah, which is weird. I mean, he's not supposed to be burnt up or anything yet. So, I don't know. I instantly thought that when the baby was there. It's like, well, he's not really Freddy yet. He has to do his shit and then get burned alive. Then he looks all fucked up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, it was weird to have the little baby come out. But it was fine.
Then
it was
obviously,
good for effect.
That's how the baby, crawled into Freddy's... sweater and stuff and resurrected him and whatnot, which was kind of cool.
These endings and beginnings are they're a little cheesy. It's like, oh, he really just fucking died from seeing himself, and then he's resurrected because like his younger self crawls into his old clothes, or I don't know, but whatever, it's go with the flow.
Yeah, you just got to go with it. It's just one of those movies, or it's just how the series is. You just got to go with the flow. So everything changes.
Then sort of a little bit towards the end when the comic book scene, if you remember, I guess they painted everything black and white on the set. They didn't just change the color on the camera, so everything was painted black and white in that comic book scene. And then they actually had a different guy playing Freddy in that scene, the superhero Freddy, because he's buff. He's buff and big, and so instead of stuffing up Robert Englund or anything, they actually had a really big guy in Freddy makeup, who actually was the same guy in the very beginning of the movie in the sex scene.
Super Freddy.
Yeah. So if you notice, the guy is pretty muscular in the sex scene in the beginning. That's the same guy playing Super Freddy.
Yep.
And it's different than Dan. So
yeah, that was kind of interesting to see the bigger headed Freddy, and obviously the guy, the nerd comic guy, he had like the guns and stuff too, and they probably just swapped him in and out. And of course you see Freddy on like a skateboard and stuff too. And
that scene they said was supposed to be a lot more. They had so many ideas for it, then just ended up being Super Freddy on a skateboard.
Yeah. Which was kind of cool. He's like riding the skateboard through the hallway and scraping his claws, his knives against the side of the shelves and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Well, I thought it was funny too. Now then, there's another Freddy, because at the end, when sort of Freddy's coming out of Lisa. Or Alice? Lisa? Alice.
Well, Lisa Wilcox is a real name.
Playing Alice, yeah. When Freddy's coming out of her, they actually used a guy with no legs.
That's right. They found a legless actor.
So they used the guy with no legs and put him in Freddy makeup. So you have Paraplegic Freddy and you have Super Freddy.
Yep.
All in this movie. Yep, all in the same movie. So that's
That scene was crazy. I mean, and obviously that's when little Jacob's standing there watching it all and stuff, and then obviously Amanda Kruger comes in and saves the day. But I kind of want to go back to talk about that the Erica's death scene. where she had her mouth full of food.
Oh, yeah.
They were kind of
Yep.
referencing that they got the idea per se from Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
Yeah.
Where the big fat guy is, he keeps stuffing himself and he keeps getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter, where eventually he just blows up.
Well, he has the puke bucket, and then
Yeah.
he starts puking all over everybody, and
But they were saying there was so much. That looked pretty gruesome. Her cheeks were just like blown out with food and crap all over it. I guess the prosthetics were just crazy, and she like couldn't even eat or like sip through a straw for like hours on end too.
Yeah.
And so that was it was like 3 to 5 days or 3 days they had to like redo it and keep doing it, and she could barely eat anything during those 3 to 5 days.
Well, and apparently they had trouble finding an actress that wanted, that didn't care about looking ugly.
Yeah.
Because they made her look really, really ugly with the cheeks and everything. And so a lot of actresses were like, no, I don't want to look that ugly on screen or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And she was really attractive. Erica was her real name, but she played Greta.
Yeah.
But I was kind of surprised, she's like, I don't give a shit. I'll stuff food in my mouth and look like an ugly, blown up mouth bitch.
Yeah. But when it was all said and done, it was the lowest grossing movie of the whole series.
Yeah.
So to come up with this fifth one, have it sort of, what they said is that it wasn't a failure really, because it still did good numbers. Like, it was a hit in the box office, but it was not necessarily like a blockbuster like all the other ones had been. So it was probably because they released it less than a year after.
Yeah, didn't have time to people to really sink in the fourth one, and then the fifth one came out. And
it was like right away. Everything happened so fast. People were probably still feeling the release of Nightmare 4, and then all of a sudden they're hit with another one, and they probably don't give a shit,
And I think this is what some people said too, like the realization of Freddy coming into your dreams through a child, and and like the whole abortion thing and all that. I don't know if that set well with the public too, so maybe they didn't, it kind of
they were saying how it had some
too.
controversial tones to it, and it did turn some people off. So they just, it was sort of the failure of the series so far.
Even
though number 2 is by far the worst fucking movie so far out of the series.
Yeah, it was the gayest one.
It made more money than this one, only because of the anticipation, probably.
Yeah.
So
I think I liked 5 better than the second one. I don't know.
No, I did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
2's the worst one out of the whole
sure. That's what I think
so far.
So when you're out, so you can just the ones that haven't seen it, you guys can just watch 1 and go straight to 3. Just skip 2 because it pretty much correlates the story 1 to 3.
Yeah,
2 really doesn't have to do.
2 doesn't have much to do with anything. It's just a fucking horrible movie.
It's just a Freddy movie.
I mean, there's probably some hardcore Freddy fans out there that they're like, they're all really good movies. Like I have appreciation for all of them.
Yeah, sure.
But 2's definitely the worst. Like, let's get serious here.
Yeah. And there was some good stuff in it, but if you're going for the Wes Craven, you can't pass those boundaries.
A couple things I wanted to talk about that I just noticed while watching the movie before we shut up on it. It was sort of, so the whole fucking Rick karate stuff, was cheesy as hell.
In Nightmare 4.
I'm a little biased because I train in Muay Thai and I've fought in the cage before and stuff, and he's sitting there punching this material punching bag with bare hands. I mean, his knuckles would be bloody within like 3 minutes, or less. So that was sort of inconsistent, and I don't know. It was just a little bit cheesy. And then when Tuesday night is, was it this portion? She doesn't. Yeah, she's getting sucked into the quicksand, and she sounds like she's like having sex or something.
Oh yeah, she's like, she has those sex sounds.
Yeah, she did that for a lot of her struggling moments. Yeah, whenever she's struggling, she's just like, oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus, is she fucking struggling or is she having sex right now?
Yeah.
God damn.
And then of course the guy that plays Kincaid, I can't say his name. He's of course like kind of sassy and stuff, and He's like when the car falls on Freddy, he's like, yeah, take that, motherfucker. It was just funny as hell how he just like was celebrating and was freaking out.
And then when Rick sprints to to comfort Alice.
Comfort Alice, yeah,
they're like talking, and Alice is saying how she's that she's seen Freddy, or she's having these dreams, and they don't believe her, and she like runs off saying, well, whatever, and she runs off, and then she gets over there, then Rick like says something, and then he just sprints like over to her.
Yeah, and she's like 20 feet away, like you could just walk there.
Yeah, but he like sprints. It's like to go comfort her.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was funniest part of the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, I laughed my ass off, and then of course the whole resurrecting of Freddy, the dog pees fire onto Freddy's grave in the junkyard, which was just hilarious as hell. And like Rennie even says that was his idea, the director's. He's like, looking back, that probably wasn't the most best idea, but it worked. It worked.
And I just have to sneak it in there that when she gets sucked into the screen and she's holding on to the banister, it's Evil Dead 2. Brought me back to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
When he's holding on, getting sucked into the vortex.
Yeah.
I was waiting for her to say, how do you stop it?
How do you stop it? Well, I
For
thought
God's
you were gonna.
sakes, how do you stop it?
I thought you were gonna reference the diving board, because the curled up diving board reminds
like
me
the bridge
of the curled up bridge in Evil Dead as well.
That's our mission, is to relate every movie we talk about to Evil Dead series.
One of the other things that was funny as hell. Well, yeah, of course, we just love. We reference any movie that we do to Evil Dead.
Yes.
One of the other very funny things was when the dad's an alcoholic in part 4, and the Alice makes him like veggies. It's like, what is this, veggies? What do you think I am? What do you think I am? A rabbit? And he does like those rabbit teeth.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
So there was some corny, funny stuff in it, but we just got to point those things out, guys.
Well, and then the fifth one, I feel like this is a theme throughout.
Sleeping pills too. I forgot to say about that. Those are really strong sleeping pills.
Yeah, when she gets drugged right away.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a theme throughout this whole movie where, I don't know, as a viewer, it's obvious when they're in a dream. It becomes obvious sort of quickly when they're in a dream. And I would think that it would be the same for some of these characters.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not. I don't know what that freaking ringing is going on here, but it's because my phone's being used for Periscope. We'll just let it go.
Yes, we will.
So anyways, so yeah, where was I? Yes. So like these people don't even fucking know when they're dreaming. I think it's ridiculous. So it's like the one that I thought about was when he's the comic book guy is supposed to be watching her while she's sleeping, and he's reading comics, and then he sees a comic that's about Freddy, and he's like, "What's this? What's going on?" And he starts like looking through it. Like at that exact moment when I saw the Freddy cover, if I was that character, I'd be like, "Oh fuck, I'm sleeping right now.
I'm sleeping.
Ah fuck, I fell asleep." But they're never like that. They're never like I don't know, if I was the character and some weird shit happened or I saw something I had to do, I'd be like, "Oh fuck, I'm sleeping right now.
Yep.
Damn it." But instead he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Freddy magazine?
What's
going on here?
He has no idea. And obviously he's seen Freddy already.
Yeah.
Mark's this guy's name, is the character's name, and he's seen Freddy, so obviously you think he would know, like, oh shit, I'm sleeping now. I'm screwed.
And then the other stupid fucking thing about the fifth one is when they think everyone thinks Alice is crazy, and they're gonna take the child away from her probably and all this stuff. She keeps saying the stupidest shit in front of everybody. Like, she knows that they think she's crazy. She knows they're gonna try and take her child away. Why the fuck does she keep saying shit in front of people? Like when she wakes up, like she's at the ultrasound and she freaks out in front of the doctor. She's like, he's gonna come get my kids, or whatever. She's just saying that to the people. It's like, shut the fuck up. Just think that in your head.
Yeah, do not.
It happens like 5 times throughout the whole movie where there's like people around her and she's like, oh, Freddy's done this and that and this. And the people are just like, you're fucking psycho.
Yeah.
It's like, quit fucking saying it out
They
loud.
wouldn't think you're psycho if you said it in your head.
Yeah. Like, say it to the people, because there's some people that believe her. and are on board with her, say it to those people. But when she just randomly says shit to like the adults and stuff like that, it's like, well, no wonder like you're just a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
So,
God.
I don't know. That's all I had to say about that one.
Well, and there was the Asylum backdrop that we saw. Remember? That was funny as hell.
Asylum's definitely a backdrop.
And then the comic spiders that were crawling up around too.
Definitely some some subpar effects.
But Freddy did have some like lines. He always says bitch like bon appetit, bitch.
Yeah.
So he was like I was saying in the fourth one, he kind of had like the Tom Cruise, James Bond kind of thing, and then this one they try to have more scary. But they always add those like classic Freddy one-liners in that that has his character. So
I think that wraps up Nightmare 4 and 5. So thanks for joining us, you guys. We'll be on next week, the last episode of Freddy month, which is February, and we'll be on to our next month of horror. Which we'll let you know about that on the last episode because we do have it scheduled out. So, we'll be going. We're just going to make it through the sort of quote unquote originals. So, the next week we're going to talk about Freddy's Dead and New Nightmare.
That's right.
And
that will wrap up the 7 movies within the Freddy.
Sorry, we're going to leave out Freddy vs. Jason and then Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
Yep.
Which doesn't even have Robert Englund in it. So, I don't know. I don't feel too bad for leaving it out.
Yeah. So it didn't have the original Robert Englund. So
it doesn't come in the badass Freddy DVD set. So
which was what we have.
That means we're not covering it. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Remember, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/cultclassichorror. Of course, we're at cultclassichorror.com. That's where you should go to find all our past episodes and read all the hilarious blogs that Michael Butler has been throwing out there. So cultclassichorror.com. You can find us everywhere else linked to there. And remember to follow us on Periscope so that you can see our episodes live, like right now when we're recording them. Like people are watching us right now from Periscope.
Yeah, you can actually see us live.
And see the episode early. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.